Hey lovelies. So I wanted to do another video this evening. Just going to chat to you sort of about my issues with my doctors lately. Not going to mention any names or locations or anything. But it's really because I want to know, do you guys have the same issues as me? So anyway, I went, where should we start? Well, let's start by saying, is it just me in the surgery that I'm at that every time they make an appointment they never actually first of all see their own GP, and second of all every time they go they see a different doctor and it's like, okay, what can I help you with today? And you're like, well, I'm here for my review. I find it so frustrating whenever I'm going to the doctors to find that I'm having to continually repeat myself about what I'm there for, what's wrong with me, even though it's all on the notes. A couple of weeks ago I ordered a repeat prescription of my tramadol, which I mean, basically what happened, May, June of this year, I was put on Butrans patches, and I was weaned off tramadol, and that was fine. I was on 5s of the patches, and I was weaned off the tramadol, and then a month later I went back crying with the pain that I was in because it wasn't enough for me. So the doctor not only increased my patches to 10, he also gave me tramadol back. He gave me Zydol rather than a slow release one. So I thought, okay. So I was taking it, and I was allowed to take 2 4 times a day. So I was taking 8 tablets, and I went on like this, and I was getting repeat prescriptions. I was getting 100 at a time, so they were lasting just under 2 weeks. So I got a note on one of my prescriptions saying that I needed to contact the doctor because I needed to go in for a review. So that was okay. Well, actually it wasn't okay, because the first one I actually didn't see because my mum goes to pick up my prescriptions because it's not close to me. So anyway, I didn't actually see that, so I didn't know. The next time whenever I went to order it, even though I order my prescriptions online and it comes up approved, so I think they're fine. So I send my mum down and she says, like, they're not giving me them. So I rang up and I was like, what's going on? And she says, like, we can't give you them because you're supposed to come in for a review and you haven't. I was like, okay, well, I'm actually due to come in for a review this week anyway. This was when it was due to happen. Not previous to this. I wasn't aware. So that was okay. I said I'd make a review, or make an appointment for a review, and she says, okay, well, we don't have anything until next week. And I'm like, what? You know, I can't wait until next week for my medication. She says, okay, well, the only thing I can do is I'll ask the doctor if she can sign it for an emergency dosage for you. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I can cope with that, that'll do. And she says, call back at 5 o'clock. So I called back at 5 o'clock. I haven't seen the doctor yet. She said, okay, call back in 5 minutes. Call back in 5 minutes. Still haven't seen her. Call back in 5 minutes. And this kept going until past, when she finally said, okay, we've got your prescription. And I was like, okay, when do you close? And she was like, well, technically we're closing now. So I had to get my mum. She only lives a couple of minutes away, so it's not a huge deal, but I had to get her to run down, and then my dad was leaving the medication through my door later on, so it meant to say I had medication and didn't have to wait another day. So that was fine. I sat and chatted to the doctor. Once again, I went in and she was like, okay, how can I help you today, Lyndsey? And I was like, well, okay, I was told to come in for a review on my medication, and we chatted. She gave me the tramadol again, which, you know, fair enough, I obviously took it. And I was talking to her about how my stomach with the ulcers and stuff had started getting really bad again. So she says, okay, I see you're on naproxen, which really isn't going to help you because of your fibromyalgia. It's, you know, it's not a muscular thing anyway, so it's not going to do any difference. So I was like, okay. I says, how's it going to affect my shoulder, you know, my neck with the nerve and the nerve damage and whatever? Should be fine, it shouldn't do any difference. Which is another story. I think I ranted about it last week. So I went off the naproxen, and within a couple of days the pain in my shoulder was so extreme. It was unbelievable. I ended up having to go back on them, but she was hoping that this would help my stomach. It's one of those things that it's not, and I can feel in 2 different places where it feels like I've got ulcers back again, so I have to go for an endoscopy to look down in to see exactly where they are. So anyway, that's another whole story. That'll be fun. So I thought that was fine. I'd had the conversation with her. I actually discussed a couple of other things with her, mainly about the really embarrassing thing for me, but the excessive facial hair that I have, which isn't something that you normally see, because I have to go every 7 days to get threaded. I haven't been yet. I ended up, because I couldn't afford it this week, I plucked out a lot of the really dark hairs. Most of the ones that are here are really light. If you can see them, I apologise. It's one of the most embarrassing things for me, but I will, I'll maybe do a video on that some other time. But anyway, so we discussed that as well. I was there for quite a while, and I thought, okay, this seems to have been good. I'm sorted. So that was fine. Last week, whenever I went to order my repeat again, which I was actually really annoyed the week before because I actually only got a box of 50, which only does me a week, which was really, really annoying because I take 8 a day. If you've only got 50, that's not even lasting you a week, So anyway, I ordered my repeat prescription last Wednesday night. I went on and checked. I meant to go and get it. I meant to ring and see if it was ready on Friday. I didn't get around to it. So on Monday, I went down, and I think it was Monday anyway, it doesn't matter what day it was. I went over with my husband, and actually I feel like it was yesterday. Oh, seriously, what day is this? This is Tuesday. Is this Tuesday? Yes, this is Tuesday. Seriously, stop it. Okay. So I went to the doctor's yesterday, or the chemist, to pick up my prescription, thinking, okay, it's approved, I'll go pick it up. And she was like, okay, so we have here your Betnafate and your Duloxetine. And I was like, yeah, but there should be tramadol there. She says, there's not. And she checked, there was nothing in the system. So she says, go and check with the doctor. So I went up to the doctor's and I asked the receptionist about it, and she looked through and she says, yep, it's here, it was done. And she rang the chemist and she said the date, and I went, no, that was my previous prescription on the 22nd, I've already got that. So she looked through the system. Sometimes I don't know why they do that. They don't do that in the first place. But once again, there was a note that I needed to see a doctor for a review. And I was like, why? Why do I need to see the doctor again? I saw her less than 2 weeks ago. It'll be 2 weeks on Thursday coming that I last seen her. And that was because they'd requested me to come in. And she was like, look, I don't know what to tell you. It just says that you should be on Maxitram or something. I was like, look, I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. I need my medication. What am I supposed to do? I've been without them for 2 days. I can hardly move. I'm in so much pain. And at first she said to me, the only thing you can do is ring between 12 and 1 tomorrow. And I'm like, look, I can't wait and fight for, to get through on the phone, because they have that hour where you can get through to a doctor and talk to them. But it is incredibly hard to get through because people are just constant. And then she says, well, why don't you come down at 8 o'clock in the morning and maybe you'll get to see the doctor before the surgery starts. And I was like, maybe, do you mean that I might not get to see the doctor because... And she went, well, there could be other people here. And I was like, no, I can't do that. And this went on for a while, and I was fighting back the tears. I mean, anybody who knows me will know I hate confrontation, and I hate whenever I get stressed out and annoyed about things, because then I start to cry. So I was fighting back the tears, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't come down every 2 weeks and see a doctor for my medication. This is ridiculous. So I says, okay, I really wish I could help you. The only other thing I can do, and I was like, why didn't you say this in the first place? But the only other thing she could do was see if the doctor could ring me at the end of surgery. I was like, right, okay, yes, do that. So at the end of the day, I got a phone call from the doctor, and she was like, what can I do for you? And I'm like, seriously, what is the point? Why does nobody talk about this here? And it was the wrong doctor in the first place. And I said that to her, and she went, oh, okay, I'll get her to ring you back, and went to hang up. And I was like, no, but you can maybe help me. You're the doctor I seen 2 weeks ago, and this doctor I've known since I was a kid. And I said to her, I've got another note on my prescription saying that I need to come for review. I says, but I was with you a couple of weeks ago. And she says, yes, you were with me to talk about your stomach. And I was like, no, I was in for a review as well. And, you know, you didn't change anything. It just stayed the same. And then she explained to me that because the dose of tramadol that I was on was the step before Butrans, I shouldn't be on both of them together because it's too much. I'm like, right, okay, I don't understand, because I've seen 2 doctors who didn't change it. You were one of them. And she says it seems to be a confusion in what you're taking, because for some reason it's on the system here, 5s, that is your repeat prescription, but it says here for June that you were increased to 10. And I'm like, seriously? You know, why wasn't that changed? If that doctor changed me up to 10, he was the one that also gave me the tramadol back, which obviously he shouldn't have. And the conversation went on for a while, and at first it sounded like she was shouting at me, and I was like, look, doctor, no harm, but I really wish I wasn't taking any of these medications in the first place. Never mind, you know, the fact that I now am aware that I've been on stuff that I shouldn't have been. I don't want to be on these. You know, obviously these are incredibly addictive medications. I don't want them. I want to live my life without medication. But in the interim, where it is apparent that I actually do really need them, I don't want to have to fight for them. I need something to help me. So in the end, it was agreed that we would increase my medication up to 15 instead of 10s in the patches, and I'm now going to be taking slow release tramadol, called Maxitram, rather than the Zydol that I was on, which was an as and when you need it, which is fair enough. You know, I take it twice a day, which is, as far as I know, I think is half the dose that I was on of the other ones. So I'm hoping that it will help, the combination of the two. But I was so frustrated at the fact that I've had to jump through hoops. And then after the stuff that happened at the hospital last week, where the doctors had screwed up me getting my injection, and I'm running about, I can't dry my hair, I can't brush my hair properly. It is just so angering whenever we have to fight for our benefits. We have to fight for people to understand what we're going through. We have to fight for our medication. You know, not only are we fighting this condition, we're fighting everybody around us as well. And it is one of the most frustrating things in the world when everything feels like it's against you. And I know, and this is something I say in probably nearly every video that I do, I understand that there's people worse off than me in the world, and I get that. And I mean, some of the things that I read, I mean, one of them was, like, for a start, here is something that I actually reposted on my own Facebook page, and it says, the problem with fibromyalgia is that there's so many symptoms that you feel like a hypochondriac, especially when no one can see the pain, the insomnia, brain fog, exhaustion, sensory overload, and many other debilitating symptoms. It is very frustrating if people don't understand that I'm chronically ill. Other people's inconsideration of this illness can make me more depressed than the illness itself. You know, people say things like, at least it's not going to kill you. You know, just exercise more and all that sort of stuff. And it does really get you. So you feel like you're fighting against that, and you have to justify yourself. And so it's really frustrating as well whenever you have to fight against doctors too. If this is something that you've had to deal with as well, let me know in the comments below, you know, what sort of issues you've had. What you've come up against trying to get your medications, or, you know, I mean, I know for a fact that up until now, I can't say what this dosage is going to be like to help me, but until now I haven't had the right medication to help me either. I don't know many people who suffer like we do that actually has medication to help them fully. But anyway guys, I'm going to sign off now. I think 2 long videos this week is enough. And I will see you all real soon. I'm sending loving prayers and gentle hugs to you all, and I hope you have pain-free week, and I will see you all next week. Love yous. Mwah. Bye.